You won't believe what could be about to happen at Newcastle. There's a goalkeeper doing everything he can to wear the black and white shirt. A local academy hero could be on his way out for a fee that's causing serious controversy. But hold on, because the final story of today is mind-blowing. One of the most sought-after names in English football could be returning to the Premier League, and Newcastle are right in the mix. Seriously, today's third story could completely transform our midfield. So stick with me till the end. This bombshell could drop any second. Alright, before we dive in, let's continue the story from last time. Remember those Chelsea fans who mocked us? Said this channel wouldn't grow because our fan base is too small? Well, thanks to you, the numbers are climbing, and now they've gone real quiet. But let's finish the job. If you love Newcastle and want to be part of this moment, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's show the world we're not just fans, we're family. And together, no one laughs at us. News 1. Trafford wants to come, but Burnley are asking too much. The James Trafford saga continues, and the ending is still wide open. The young Burnley goalkeeper, who shone for England's U21s and is widely seen as one of the brightest prospects of his generation, is desperate to join Newcastle United. And no, that's not speculation. According to former Magpies defender and pundit John Anderson, who's well connected behind the scenes, Trafford is desperate to come. Those were his exact words. This is one of those situations where the player's mind is already made up. He wants to play for Newcastle. He wants to work under Eddie Howe. He wants to be at a club on the rise, fighting for Europe, with world-class facilities and a long-term vision. But there's always a but, right? Newcastle have already offered £27 million. That's a strong, above-average bid for a goalkeeper of his age and profile. But Burnley want more, and not just a little more. They're asking for around £40 million. £40 million for a keeper who's just been relegated. Now, to be fair, the valuation isn't just about what Trafford's done so far, but what he could become. His potential is undeniable. But Newcastle have to be smart, especially under PSR restrictions and the need to make every transfer count. And that's the big question. Will Newcastle push the price up or walk away to find someone else? John Anderson thinks the two clubs will find common ground, probably around £30 to £32 million, maybe with performance-based add-ons or sell-on clauses. If that compromise is reached, Newcastle would finally have a proper challenger for the number one spot, whether it's behind Pope or Dubravka. More than that, the club will be bringing in a young, modern keeper with good feet, sharp reflexes, and the kind of mentality that thrives under pressure. Exactly the sort of player Eddie Howe and his staff love to develop. Let's not forget, even though Burnley were relegated, Trafford was one of their bright spots. He showed maturity, big saves, and a fearless attitude in tough games. And most importantly, he wants to come. He's made it clear, his heart is set on black and white. And when a player really wants it, things tend to move fast. The pressure flips, the selling club feels the heat, and negotiations shift pace. Now it's all about patience and smart strategy. But one thing's for sure, Newcastle already have the green light from player, and in football, that's massive. So here's the big question for you. Is it worth going higher to land Trafford now? Or should the club wait and find better value elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's move on to what's next, because the news only gets bigger. News 2, Longstaff could be saying goodbye, but the price is all wrong. Now it's time to talk about a name that hits home for every Newcastle fan, Sean Longstaff, a product of our academy, a Geordie through and through, a lad who's loved this club since he was a kid. Longstaff isn't just about stats or minutes, he represents the black and white soul of Newcastle United. Over 200 appearances for the first team, always giving his all. Passion, work rate, loyalty. He's shown it every time he's stepped onto the pitch. But sadly, in modern football, sometimes that's not enough. Last season was tough for him. Between injuries, tactical choices, and the rise of players like Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Willock and Miley, Longstaff found himself watching more than playing. And now, with the club actively looking to strengthen the midfield, with names like Cocu on the radar, his role has become even more uncertain. That's where Leeds United come in. Recently promoted back to the Premier League, Leeds are reportedly interested in signing Longstaff, and the latest info says they've tabled a bid of around £10 million. And here's where the controversy begins. £10 million for a player with Premier League experience, deep ties to the club, and over 200 appearances? For many fans, that just doesn't sit right. And they are not alone. John Anderson, former defender and a pundit close to what goes on behind the scenes, believes Longstaff is worth at least £15 million, not just for what is done on the pitch, but for what he means to the squad. And let's be honest, he has a point. Even with limited minutes, Longstaff is still a strong, tactically disciplined, and versatile midfielder. He's the kind of player who might not grab headlines, but he does a job, and with real heart. So here's the big question. Is Newcastle really ready to let him go? Or would it take a better offer to even consider it? And perhaps even more important, does Longstaff want to leave? At 26 years old, he needs minutes. He needs rhythm, confidence, and a role where he feels important. If that's not coming at Newcastle, maybe it is time for a new challenge, but only if it's valued properly. It's tough to picture Longstaff in another shirt, but football forces hard decisions. If he goes, it should be through the front door, where the respect is earned over the years. So, we turn it over to you. Would you sell Sean Longstaff for £10 million? Or do you think he still has a big role to play at Newcastle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and stay right there, because the last story of today's video is an absolute bombshell. News 3, bombshell. Conor Gallagher on Newcastle's radar. Alright, here we go, the hottest story of the video. A potential game-changer for Newcastle United's midfield. According to multiple reports from both the Spanish and British press, Conor Gallagher, yes, that Conor Gallagher, Chelsea Academy graduate, Premier League standout, and now at Atletico Madrid, is firmly on Newcastle's radar. And this isn't just a distant glance. The interest is real, and the timing couldn't be better. Let's rewind a bit. Gallagher joined Atletico last year for around €41 million, in one of the most talked about moves of the window. The plan was clear. He was meant to become a central figure in Diego Simeone's midfield, with his relentless energy, versatility, and that classic all-action style that English fans know so well. But it hasn't quite worked out. Gallagher hasn't nailed down a starting spot. In a rigid system and with plenty of competition, he's played far less than he would have hoped. Now, with Atletico needing to raise funds to reshape their squad, Gallagher's name has quietly made its way onto the for-sale list. And who's lurking, ready to pounce? Newcastle United. Manager Eddie Howe is a known admirer of Gallagher. He's praised him publicly in the past. And inside the club, Gallagher is viewed as a perfect profile to strengthen the midfield. We're talking about a player who's intense, tactical, reliable, bursting with energy, and effective both going forward and tracking back. In other words, the kind of balance Newcastle badly need, especially with all the uncertainty around Tunnelly, Willock, and Longstaff. But there's always a but. The issue here is the price. Atletico want at least what they paid. More likely, they'll try to turn a profit. Meaning any deal would need to be north of €41 million, possibly in the €45 to €50 million range. So here's the big question. Is Gallagher worth that kind of money? Well, that depends how you look at it. From a footballing standpoint, he's a dream fit, pure Premier League experience, great tactical awareness, strong physically, smart on the ball, capable of playing deep or further forward depending on the setup. And at just 24 years old, there's still loads of room to grow. From a project perspective, Gallagher isn't someone you sign to warm the bench. He'd arrive to start, to partner with Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, or whoever remains, and to inject fresh drive into a midfield that was stretched to the limit last season. And then there's the market angle, where Newcastle might actually have the edge over rivals like Tottenham. At Newcastle, Gallagher would have more freedom, more minutes, and a manager who truly believes in his style. He knows the league inside out. He's shone at Crystal Palace, at Chelsea, and he wouldn't need to adapt. And here's what really matters. Gallagher is the kind of player fans connect with. His fight, his fire, his full throttle. He runs until the final whistle, chases every ball like it's a last, and plays with passion. The kind of player you want on your side when the pressure's on. In a team that's aiming for Champions League football, pushing into Europe's elite. That attitude can make all the difference. So now we ask, will Newcastle take the leap and bring Gallagher back to England? Because if they do, the message will be loud and clear. Newcastle aren't settling. They are going all in. And now, over to you. Which of today's 3 headlines hit you hardest? Is it Trafford, desperate to wear black and white? Longstaff, possibly leaving for a controversial fee? Or this Gallagher bombshell that could reshape our entire midfield? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. The transfer window is only just heating up, and we'll be here telling you everything the clearest way possible. Until next time, and as always, hoey the lads.